welcome to today's video. I did this video for the first time last month and it seems to be fairly well received, and I like making them. I like watching other people make these videos, so for now, I think I want to make these every single month. It's basically a monthly book haul of all of the books that I bought in one month, where I bought them from, how much I spent total, as well as the average price per book that we break down at the end. So stay tuned till the end for the final breakdown. But let's talk about some books that I bought in June. June was such a fun book month because I bought a lot of new releases, a lot of signed books, and then I actually spent the most this. I look like a ghost. The sun just came out and I'm so overexposed. As I was saying, I also spent the most this month on local independent bookstores, which I always recommend and suggest doing to support your local bookshops. And I spent the least at Barnes & Noble. Amazing. I don't know if the vlog that shows this is out yet, but it was also my birthday month, and this year for my birthday, I definitely asked for some books, as well as just going to some bookstores and picking out some books. So I think we're gonna start there. But before we do, if you are not yet subscribed, please subscribe. I make a ton of book videos like this. I'll leave the whole playlist down below, as well as vlogs and other lifestyle content if you like that as well. I also have a bookstagram account if you like that, as well as my booktok, which I'm having so much fun on right now, so definitely follow me on TikTok. My Goodreads as well as my Amazon storefront is linked as well. And all of these books can be found on my Amazon storefront if you prefer to shop online. I know that sometimes Amazon's prices can actually be better, so I get it, I get it. If you're a book girly or a reader on a budget, I see you. And hopefully this video shows you some ways that you can attain some books for cheaper prices, because I also include little free libraries and stuff like that. I have the total breakdown on this notebook between all of the stores, prices, the total books, and the total spent. So let's get started, because we have 32 books to get through. Well, I didn't buy all 32 books, and I'll explain that in a second, but I acquired 32 new books this month, including a lot of new releases. I'm so overwhelmed, no idea which one to start with, and I'm filming my July TBR video next, so be on the lookout for that. But let's get started. Let's start with some of the books that I got as a birthday gift from my partner Ashton. All that I really wanted for my birthday this year was to go to some local bookstores I've been wanting to try out and pick out some new books. So I have 6 books that we picked out at these local bookstores, starting at Tropes and Trifles, which is a new Minneapolis romance bookstore. Oh my gosh, highly recommend. So cute, so many good books. Like, if you are in the area or close enough to make it a trip, it's worth it. I grabbed Elsie Silver's new release, Wild Love there, and I cannot wait to read this. This is going to be in my July TBR for sure. I haven't read the Chestnut Spring series yet, so I'm not sure if I'm like supposed to start there, but the cover drew me in. I also love like big romance books that are like this size or above, so cannot wait to read this. I've heard nothing but amazing things about Miss Elsie Silver. I also picked out Allie Hazelwood's new release, Not in Love, and this is the independent bookstore edition, so it comes with like artwork on the inside and probably something else as well. I don't know, but it was fun, and this is her newest book. I hear it's pretty different than her other books. This is definitely a priority read on my TBR list as well. The last book that I grabbed at Tropes and Trifles as a birthday gift was Christina Lauren's The Unhoneymooners. This just seemed like a really fun Christina Lauren book to read in the summertime. The bookstore also gave me a little bookmark, so that's in this book as well. What I really like about Christina Lauren's books is that they are pretty easy to get through, but still entertaining. I've only read 2 of them, but I do like the style that they write in, so this is also going to be a priority summer read for me as well. I feel like I just posted my overly ambitious summer TBR video, and I'm just adding so many books to them that are like, well, actually I'm gonna start with that are gonna be read before that. I don't know, it's so hard. I will never have enough time to read all the books I want to read. Next, Ashton and I went to Once Upon a Crime, which is such a fun mystery thriller bookstore in the basement of like an apartment complex in Uptown. I made a TikTok video about it, and I guess I missed a whole back room annex that you have to ask to go back in that have all of the old used vintage books, so I do need to go back and see what's in there, but I chose 3 books from this place as well. I found The Girls in the Garden by Lisa Jewell. This looks like the perfect summer thriller, and I love Lisa Jewell. I love her style of writing. I love how she tells thrillers. She gives you so much information without making the web too complicated, but spinning it just right to make you super invested and intrigued and trying to put all of the pieces together. She has just mastered her craft. People magazine says this is a page turner for readers who like beach reads on a dark side, so it sounds like the perfect summer mystery thriller book. I don't like to read a lot about a book before going into it. I'd rather, especially with thrillers, just surprise me. Every page, don't want to know. I grabbed Rachel Hawkins' Reckless Girls here as well. I read The Villa, absolutely fell in love with it, so now I want to read all of her books. The only thing I know about this is from a bookstagram girly that messaged me, and she told me one bit that I guess is on the back, but I didn't know, and I'm not going to spoil it for you if you haven't read it yet. I mean, it's on the back of the book, but still, I was kind of like bummed that she told me, because I would have rather like gone into it completely blind. But this looks like a very summery island thriller vibes that I cannot wait to read. And the last book that I picked out for my birthday at Once Upon a Crime, people have seemed to either like it or really hate it because of something that's kind of yucky in this. It's controversial, but it's a Frida McFadden book, The Teacher. I think this is her least liked book, so I don't know why I'm starting with it, but to be honest, I don't always hate this premise. Depends on how it's done. Definitely excited to read it though. I think this is in my birthday vlog, so if that's out, you know what's coming. But when I was there at Once Upon a Crime, it was the day, June 18th, that Riley Sager's new book came out, and they had copies of it right by the register and they were signed. I don't know why I didn't get one. I think I like chose these 3 books and we were checking out and I felt guilty and I didn't want to like ask for more books, you know, but I kept thinking about it, so much so that the next morning, right as they opened, I had to go back to see if they had any copies left, and they did. So I bought myself a little birthday book. It was Middle of the Night by Riley Sager, hardcover, signed copy, which is so exciting. This is my second Riley Sager book at this point. I bought another one this month, which is why I hesitated, but second book that I bought by him, first signed book by him, and I cannot wait to read this. I don't know what this book is giving, and I don't know if it's like a summary mystery or what. I like knowing what time of year the book, oh, this is perfect. It says 1 July night. So I have to read this in July. Oh, also, I lost the receipt for the Middle of the Night book, but these 6 books were obviously a birthday gift, so I didn't spend any money on them. And then I bought the Middle of the Night book. I can't find the receipt, and that's usually how I break down these videos, but I just went by the back of the book because I know that it was full signed price. So I spent $30 on Middle of the Night. I also received a small Barnes & Noble gift card from my parents as a birthday gift, so I went right to Barnes & Noble to redeem that, and I picked out 3 books, and with the gift card, my 10% off membership, and a $5 reward, the total for these 3 books were about the same as one book. I chose Blake Crouch's Dark Matter because Ashton and I love this show. It's so good. Highly recommend if you have Apple TV. I ended up buying a subscription because of this series, and I love the series so much. They were only coming out with new episodes every single Wednesday. I mean, the whole show is like aired now, but at the time I like desperately wanted to read the book to find out what happens. I still haven't read the book, but I can't wait because I feel like some parts of the book are different than the show. A lot of people said that they changed little bits about it, so I can't wait to read this book and be immersed back in the box. I usually don't read science fiction at all, like it gets very complicated for me, but the show has convinced me to read this, so I'll definitely let you know my thoughts. I'm so eager to read this book. The lighting is changing so much because it's such a sunny and cloudy day that it keeps going in and out of the clouds. The one book that I did ask my mother for that prompted this Barnes & Noble gift card, because she asked me, is there like a certain book that you want for your birthday? I gave her a title. She got overwhelmed at Barnes & Noble, so she got me a gift card instead. So I definitely wanted to still pick out this book and say that this one is from my mom. I think you'll see why, but I chose Rebecca Searle's One Italian Summer. I believe this is a new release, 2022. Oh, maybe not that new, but it's new to me. I thought this just came out because the plot seems perfect for a gift from my mom. Basically, the protagonist travels to a place in Italy because it's a place that her mom always talked about. Her mom passed away, so she wants to go to this place in Italy that her mom always raved about, always talked about, although when she shows up in this town in Italy, she sees the younger version of her mom, like happy and healthy living there. So I'm here for a book like that. It reminds me of like the 7-Year Slip almost. Seems very maternal, mother-daughter, Italy, summertime, perfect summer read. The last book that I chose from Barnes & Noble is another Rachel Hawkins book, The Wife Upstairs. It kind of matches my outfit. Like with the denim, I want to read all of her books because I enjoyed The Villa so much, so I'm excited to read The Wife Upstairs. I've definitely heard a lot of good things about this book, and now that I know that I love Rachel Hawkins' writing, I can't wait to read this one as well. for these 3 books from Barnes & Noble with my mother's gift card, well, my parents' Barnes & Noble gift card, my 10% off membership deal, and my rewards that I cashed in, my $5 rewards points, I spent out of pocket $27.30 for these 3 books. Next, I went to Majors & Quinn in Uptown this month, specifically for some signed books by Abby Jimenez. I ended up buying 5 books, but another favorite local bookstore if you're in the Minneapolis area. It's huge. They have so many books, new and used, so their prices vary. I obviously grabbed the newer versions of these because I wanted the signed edition, but they also did have a lot of used copies of these for like $7, so a lot cheaper. I'm in my Abby Jimenez era. I want to read her books specifically and especially because they all take place in Minnesota, and the most popular comment or message that I get in regarding books is if I've read her books or that people think I would like them. I went to a Twins game and somebody responded to my story saying that I should read her books. I guess there's like a lot of local places in Minneapolis and Minnesota that are mentioned in her books, so I love when that happens. It happened once in Love and Other Words even, because it's a very small part, but the protagonist's like cousin or stepsister, I already forgot, but somebody mentioned that they moved to Edina in Minnesota, and I was like, I know that city. I grew up like right on the border. So Abby Jimenez, let's go. I grabbed a signed copy of Just for the Summer, her newest release, although I believe this is the 3rd book in a standalone series, so I might have to wait a second before I read this. I definitely want to buy all of her books signed because they are just so common to come across here since Abby Jimenez also lives here. I forgot if I mentioned that, but if you did not know, Abby Jimenez is a local Minneapolis author. She also owns Nadia's Cupcakes in the area as well, and that's a place that you can find her signed books, but a lot of the local independent bookstores will carry signed copies of her books. She'll literally just walk in and start signing copies. That happened at Tropes and Trifles, so definitely worth the trip if you're able to come into the cities and grab some signed Abby Jimenez books. I also grabbed a signed copy of Life's Too Short, $16, $16, 16, is that's not bad. 16 bucks isn't bad. Signed copy of Part of Your World. I think I need to start with this book. At least that's the consensus online. There it is, Abby. So those were the 3 Abby Jimenez books that I grabbed. Also, I was saying Abby Jimenez online. That's how everyone has been pronouncing her name. And then this one girl from my early 20s that was such a bully and was so mean to me, just not a nice person, must have seen my video on her For You page because she corrected my pronunciation in the video. So now, is it Jimenez or Jimenez? We're all just trying our best. I think it's very rude to correct somebody like that, but it's fine. I found 2 books on sale at Majors & Quinn as well. So this Lisa Scatterline book, Think Twice, was $1.25 in the clearance section, but this thriller is about twins, and one of the twins unalives the other twin, so we'll see. But Lisa Scatterline I think is pretty consistently good, so I'm excited to read her books. And then I cannot believe the next book that I found because it's a huge coffee table book that I have been wanting for years, but I had never justified buying it new because it's like pretty pricey. Or at least it used to be. I don't know, you know what I mean? Like this would be like 50 bucks at like a patina. No, the clearance section at Majors & Quinn had this book for $3. Literally the price of a Goodwill book. In the Company of Women. You've probably seen this. I know it's very popular, but I really wanted it, so I can't believe it found me after all these years. I'm so excited to sift through this and put it in my living room. But those were the 5 books that I bought at Majors & Quinn, and my total was $57.64. When you break that down, it comes out to about $11 per book, which is a pretty decent average for some new and signed books. And the last local bookstore that I bought books at this month in Minneapolis is from Comma in the Linden Hills area, a very cute local bookstore, so another one that I would highly recommend. I want to buy a book every time I'm in a local bookstore to try to show my support and help support those so that we don't just end up with Target and Barnes & Noble, which is fine, but you know, it's good to support local businesses like this as well. So I always try to buy something when I'm there. And this time I found 2 thriller books that I've been wanting to read and cannot believe I found. The first is the paperback version of Riley Sager's The Only One Left. I have been patiently waiting for this to come out on paperback to read it. It came out about a year ago, but paperbacks just hit different, so I cannot wait to read this book. I've only heard amazing things about it. I really like his thrillers, so I grabbed this, and then I I finally found Sally Hepworth's newest release. I looked at all of these stores that I've already mentioned for the month, and all of them were sold out. Even my Barnes & Noble didn't have a copy of it, but Comet did. Sally Hepworth's Darling Girls. The plot of this just sounds so good, so I highly recommend looking it up, but it's basically about two girls who were in foster care together, but I believe it's told in like past tense of that, like they're adults now. Basically, a body was found underneath the foster care home that they grew up in, so they're brought back for questioning, and I assume the story and the murder unravels and we find out who it was and what happened. The plot though just really drew me in for some reason, and this will be my first Sally Hepworth book, so I'm eager to see if I like her writing, because I know she's got a lot of other thrillers as well. But for these two books, I also could not find the receipt. I'm not sure if I had a receipt, honestly, but I just went off of the prices on the back of the book, so give and take a couple dollars for tax and all of that, but I spent $48 on these two books. I think that's the priciest, honestly. I don't know how it happened. It was right after brunch. I was with my book club. I was out of control. I also was gracious enough to receive 2 ARCs from publishers for June. So the first one is a YA book, Made Glorious. I believe this is a thriller mystery YA of a high school that puts on the Shakespearean play Richard III, but Candlewick Press sent me this. Thank you, and honestly, I can't wait to read it. And the other ARC that I received, I was freaking out about, screaming, crying, jumping up and down in my birthday vlog. I hope that's up yet, but I'm not sure, because I just can't believe it happened. And I'm still, every time I look at it, I'm like, oh my gosh, this next book comes out in August. It's Jodi Picoult's By Any Other Name. I still don't know how this ARC is in my hands, but I am so grateful to the Jodi Picoult team and Random House for sending over this ARC copy. I love Jodi Picoult. If you've been here for a while, you know that. I have all of her books, and she is just my favorite comfort author that I really grew up with. So this comes out August 20th. Pre-order it now. I will be reading this for sure in July, and I cannot wait to share my thoughts about it with you. The next category is Little Free Libraries. So I found 4 books at Little Free Libraries this month. I honestly did not visit them as often as I did in May, but the first one I found at my parents' Little Free Library on their block. It's Kristen Hanna's True Colors. I want to read all of Kristen Hanna's books eventually, so figured this one would be really good. This one came out in 2009, so it's one of her older books, but she always writes stories so beautifully, and I cannot wait to read this one. The next book I found from my partner Ashton's Little Free Library. I love that his apartment has one. Every single time I'm over, it's my first stop. Like, we have to go check it out. But the book that I found this month from that library is called The Seed Keeper. This book came out in 2021. Wait, was that Minnesota? Oh yeah. Oh, Milkweed. Milkweed published this. I know that publishing very, very well, especially somebody that majored in English and creative writing at the University of Minnesota. Milkweed is very intertwined there. Yeah, that makes me really want to read this now. The last 2 Little Free Library books that I found this month were from Bobby and Steve's at a gas station. I love that they have Little Free Libraries at their gas station, especially when you're getting like an oil change or whatever, or your car fixed. Like, if you're just there for a while, go check out the books at their Little Free Library. I wasn't going to get these when I saw them, but then I realized that they were signed copies, which made me kind of want to get them more. I've never heard of these before, but we have Weight of Regret, and it's signed, so I grabbed this one, as well as The Summer You Found Me. Now, I do love a good romance book. I don't have romance books that look like this on the cover, so we shall see, but they're in great condition, they're newly published, and they're signed. I had to grab them. And for the final category of books that I bought in June, I've got 9 books from Goodwill and a local thrift store. So the first one I actually found on my birthday as like a little birthday gift to myself. It's Tessa Bailey's Unfortunately Yours. Is this a sequel? Because I think I need to read Sincerely Yours first. Let me know if you do know this, because I don't want to read this if I'm supposed to read another book beforehand. I've also never read Tessa Bailey before, but she's another author that I am eager to try. I also grabbed 9 Perfect Strangers from Goodwill because the comments on my TikTok videos have convinced me that I need to read this book, so the next time that I saw it, I grabbed a copy. I also love when books already have movies or TV shows out that I can watch after reading the book to see how the adaptation went, and this has a Hulu show out, so should be good. I am so excited for this next one. She Was the Quiet One. I don't know much about it, but the cover alone got me good. Like, I cannot wait to read this. Oh, they're teachers. There's twins. Okay, I'm excited. I'm also really excited to read this next one because any like historical telling, I don't know if this is like a nonfiction or it's a true story. So any true story like this, I instantly fall in love with, and I love learning about it. That's why I used to love reading nonfiction and memoirs primarily before I dove into like contemporary books more. But the Astronaut Wives Club, so good. I also love this time period of like the 60s. Is this the 60s or the 70s? I guess I'll know. I'll learn when I read this book. Oh, maybe it's 1959. But what I love about true stories in books is when they have a ton of pictures that go along with it. I cannot wait to read this. And just this era, I mean this period where it's like these astronauts literally went into space. It's America's Mercury 7 astronauts that were launched on death-defying missions. I can't wait. These next two I just had to get for nostalgic purposes because my mom read me these books as a kid. I read these books myself as a kid. So when I saw the covers, it's just like, I instantly felt connected to it. It was like memories that I had completely forgotten about came flooding back. So I just had to. I got Laura Ingalls Wilder, The Long Winter. I loved this cover as a kid because of the purple gingham around it. It's so cute. And then I also saw On the Banks of Plum Creek, and this is another cover that I absolutely loved as a kid. It's just all of the vibes. I feel really connected to it. And I feel like this is still very much me as an adult. So I grabbed these two. And then I also came across Sally Rooney's A Beautiful World, Where Are You? I like Sally Rooney. I think you have to be in a specific reading mood to enjoy her books though, because of her style and plots and like lack of quotation marks around dialogue. But if you can get over that, her books are pretty enjoyable. And I believe that I gave Conversations with Friends like 5 stars. So should be good. I also saw Kristen Hanna's The Great Alone. Again, I like Kristen Hanna, even though I've only read Firefly Lane, and I do want to read all of her books eventually, so I grabbed this as well. And then the last thrifted book that I found this month was Lisa Scottoline's What Happened to the Bennetts. For the 9 books that I found at thrift stores, my total was $19, which comes out to about $2 on average per book, which I think is pretty great. But those are the 32 books that I bought in the month of June. I definitely spent the most at local bookstores this month, which makes me really happy because I went to 4, I believe, and my total for local independent bookstores that I supported was $135.64. And the lowest place that I spent on books this month was actually Barnes & Noble, which I love them, but that also makes me so happy that not all of my money went to Barnes & Noble because they're pretty pricey and you're not supporting local businesses when you do that. My total at Barnes for the month was only $27. But out of all of the categories, for 32 books that I acquired or bought or were gifted this month, the total that I spent was $181.94 on 32 books. However, when you break it down and divide it by 32 books, the average comes out to about $5.68 per book, which honestly isn't bad at all. So definitely let me know your thoughts if you've read any of these books, which ones I should start with, because I'm so overwhelmed in the best way. Because I bought so many books, I have to stop doing that too. But I'm in the headspace where I want to read everything right now, so it's hard for me to choose. So let me know which book you think I should start with for July, and I'm about to go film my July TBR, so be on the lookout for that. But thanks so much for watching. Definitely follow my book Instagram account as well as my book TikTok. Everything will be linked down below, but I'll see you real soon in my next video. Bye!